Hi everyone, welcome back to my class. Today we're gonna learn about vacation or holiday part 1. And after that, we will focus on the grammar, zero, and first conditional sentence. Ready to start this lesson? Let's go. Do you like traveling? What do you usually do on your vacation? I believe your answer will be varied. Well, let's talk about it. Here are the basic vocabulary of holiday. I will read them one by one and I want you to repeat them after me. Are you ready? Trip. Trip. It is an act of going to a place and then returning. It's like a journey or excursion, especially for pleasure. Next, tour. Tour. It is a journey for pleasure in which several different places are visited. Brochure. Brochure. It is a small book or magazine containing pictures and also information about product or service. For example, a brochure of hotel, a brochure of restaurant, a brochure of shop, etc. Guide. Guide. It's a person who advises or shows the way to others. If you go to some places and you don't know about the place, you can rent a guide to show you the recommended places. Resort. Resort. It is a place that is a popular destination for vacations or recreation, or which is frequented for a particular purpose. We can also say it is a place where some people spend their holidays. Break. Break. It's like a pause in work or a pause during an activity or it's a pause during an event, etc. High season. High season. Peak season. Peak season. Both of are the same. It means that the most popular time of year at the resort, hotel, or tourist attraction when the prices are the highest. It's time of year when the greatest number of people visit a place when the prices are at their highest level. Travel agent. Travel agent. It's a person or an agent that engage in selling and arranging transportation, accommodation, tours, or trips for traveler. Their main job is managing people's holidays and trips. Abroad. Abroad. It is to go to a foreign country. If you go abroad, it means that you go to the foreign country. Tourist. Tourist. It is a person who is traveling or visiting a place for pleasure and interest, especially when they are on a holiday. Reservation. Reservation. It is an action of reserving something or an agreement to book something. If you make a reservation, it means you arrange for something such as a table in a restaurant or room in a hotel to be kept for you. Excursion. Excursion. It's like a short journey or trip to visit an interesting place especially one that is arranged or recommended by a travel agent. Destination. Destination. It's a place to which someone or something is going for being sent, or it's being a place that people will make a special trip to visit. What do the people usually do in their holidays? Here are the list that the people usually do in their holidays. They usually stay in a hotel for a night or more, send some postcards in order to ask the condition of their relative or the activities of their relatives in their holiday, look around the museum. It can be art gallery, history museum, natural museum, etc. They also usually hire a car to look around the city, go sightseeing about the nature around the place they visit, go excursion and trips, or they usually take some photos at the iconic place so they can make them as their memory at that place, buy souvenirs from the city they have visited, do sunbathing, and it's usually for the Western people who love sunbathing when they visit the beach. Get sunburned after they do sunbathing, it will be the hint for them if they are coming back from the vacation. Or they usually try the local food. There are, of course, a lot of special local food offered at the place they visit. Or they usually go out at night to see the beautiful scenery of night in that city. Or they also try rock climbing. This is the kind of challenging holiday and it's suitable for the people who love challenging and physical activity. Or they usually enjoy sailing, do diving and snorkeling. It's suitable for the people who love ocean and swimming. Or they usually ride a horse in their free time. Well, I have some question for you. What activities will you do if tomorrow is holiday? Maybe you will do windsurf, surf, sunbathe, snorkel, build a sandcastle, scuba dive, go camping, have a picnic, visit grandparents, go sightseeing, go sailing, go hiking, and many others. You can do one of these activities if tomorrow is holiday. Next question. What do you usually wear if you have a trip to the mountain? You can answer this question based on your habit. And here, I'll provide you the sample answer. I always wear my jacket if I have a trip to the mountain. Or you can answer this by your own habit. Next, what will you do if the sun shines tomorrow? You can answer this question based on your planning. And here, I'll provide you the sample answer. If the sun shines tomorrow, I will go to the beach. You can do another planning. Now, look at the first sentence. I always wear my jacket. It belongs to habit. If I have a trip to the mountain, it belongs to if clause. And this sentence is included into zero conditional sentence. The next sentence, if the sun shines tomorrow, this is if clause. And then I will go to the beach. It's the planning for the future. Then this sentence belongs to first conditional sentence. In this lesson, we will try to differentiate between zero conditional sentence and the first conditional sentence. What are the differences between them? Let's check it out. Now, let's move to the grammar focus. The differences between zero conditional sentence and first conditional sentence. Zero conditional sentence. We use zero conditional sentence to talk about what always happens as a result of something or permanent truths or facts, such as scientific facts, that are 100% certain, 100% possible. And it also can be used to talk about general habit. Now, look at the formula of zero conditional sentence. In the zero conditional sentence, there are two clauses. If clause as the condition and the main clause as the result. And here, because we're talking about the truth, we're talking about the facts, we're using present tense in both clauses. Look at the first formula. If plus present tense plus comma plus present tense. In this formula, if clause comes first. That's why we should put comma between if clause and the main clause. Example. If the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius, comma, it snows. If the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius belongs to if clause, it is the condition. It also uses present tense, is. The next clause, it snows. It is the main clause, result. It also uses present tense, snows. Once again, if the if clause comes first, you should put comma between if clause and the main clause. And also, we can reverse the order as the second formula. The main clause comes first, present tense, but we should not put comma after the main clause. Present tense plus if plus present tense. For example, it snows if the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. In the second sentence, the main clause comes first. That's why we don't need to put comma between two clauses. Other examples of zero conditional sentence. Look at the left side. If you touch a fire, you get burned. There are two clauses in this sentence. If you touch a fire as if clause, it is the condition, and you get burned. It is the main clause, a result. Because this sentence is telling about the fact, and the result of the sentence is 100% possible, then we use present tense for both clauses. We use present tense in if clause and the main clause. It is zero conditional sentence. Touch, it is the present tense, and get, it is also the present tense. And the if clause in this sentence comes first. That's why we put comma between two clauses. If you touch a fire, comma, you get burned. Next example. If babies are hungry, they cry. There are also two clauses in this sentence. If babies are hungry, as if clause, it is the condition, and the word they cry is the main clause, it is the result. And because this sentence is telling the truth, the result is 100% possible. We're also using present tense in both clauses. We're using present tense in if clause, and we're using present tense in the main clause. Are is the present tense. Cry is also the present tense. And because this sentence is preceded by the if clause, then we need to put comma between two clauses. If babies are hungry, comma, they cry. Next, look at the right side. People die if they don't eat. There are two clauses in this sentence. People die as the main clause. This is the result. And then if they don't eat, it is the if clause, the condition. Because this sentence is telling the truth and the result is 100% possible, we're using present tense for the main clause and the if clause. It is zero conditional sentence. Die, present tense. Don't eat is also present tense. And in this sentence, the main clause comes first. We don't need to put comma for this sentence. Next example. Snakes bite if they are scared. There are two clauses in this sentence. Snakes bite as the main clause or result, and if they are scared as the if clause. It is the condition. Because this sentence is telling the facts and the result is 100% possible, then we're using present tense for the main clause and the if clause. Bite, present tense, are present tense. And also this sentence is preceded by the main clause. We don't need to put comma. Once again, if the sentence is preceded by the if clause, we need to put comma. But if the sentence is preceded by the main clause, we don't need to put comma. Using adverbs of frequency to modify the certainty of the result. Besides telling about the facts, we can also use adverbs of frequency in the result part of zero conditional sentence to tell about habit. Now, take a look at the examples. I always take an umbrella if it rains. There are two clauses here. I always take an umbrella as the main clause. It is the result. If it rains is the if clause. And here, we're using adverb of frequency always to tell about habit. And the main clause comes first. That's why we don't need to put comma. Next example. If the sun shines in Spain, the weather is usually hot. There are two clauses here. If the sun shines in Spain is if clause. The weather is usually hot is the main clause or the result. Here, we're using adverb of frequency usually to tell about habit. In this sentence, if clause comes first. Then, we need to put comma between two clauses. Next example. I never take the train if the buses are running on time. There are two clauses here. I never take the train as the main clause or result. If the buses are running on time as the if clause. We're using adverb of frequency never to tell about habit. And here, the main clause or result comes first. That's why we don't need to put comma. Next example. If I find a good series on Netflix, I often binge watch all weekend. There are two clauses here. If I find a good series on Netflix as if clause. I often binge watch all weekend as main clause or result. And here we're using adverb of frequency often to tell about habit. If the if clause comes first, we need to put comma between two clauses. Once again, beside telling the truth or facts, zero conditional sentence can also tell about habit, and usually we use adverbs of frequency to tell about habit, just like always, usually, never, often, and many others. First, conditional sentence. We use the first conditional sentence to talk about a realistic situation in the present or future. We believe that the condition and result can or probably will happen in reality. But the condition and result are not 100% certain, are not 100% possible like the zero conditional sentence. Now, take a look at the formula of the first conditional sentence. In the first conditional sentence, there are two clauses as well. If clause as the condition and the main clause as the result. First formula, if plus present tense plus comma plus will plus verb 1. If the if clause comes first, we should put comma between if clause and the main clause. Example, if the weather is nice, comma, I will go to the park. Here, the word if the weather is nice is the if clause. It is the condition. It uses present tense, is. And then the second clause, I will go to the park. It is the main clause, the result. Will plus verb 1, go. And we put comma between those two clauses. And we can also reverse the order. We can put the main clause or the result in the beginning of the sentence. But we should not put comma between two clauses. Here is the formula. Will plus verb 1, no comma, plus if plus present tense. Once again, you shouldn't put comma between two clauses if the main clause comes first. Example, I will go to the park if the weather is nice. Here, the word I will go to the park is the main clause. It is the result. It comes first, then we shouldn't put comma after it. And the word if the weather is nice is the condition. It is if clause. Using all for will in the first conditional sentence. The abbreviated form of will is all. It can be used to describe spontaneous decisions that we might make in the future. Example: if the weather is nice, I'll go to the park. There are two clauses here. If the weather is nice belongs to if clause. It is the condition. And the word I'll go to the park is the main clause. It is the result. In the condition or in the if clause, the verb uses present tense, is. In the main clause or result, the verb uses will plus verb 1. I'll go. The word I'll go is the abbreviated form of will. I will go becomes I'll go. Next example. We can also reverse the order. We can put the main clause in the beginning of the sentence. But if the main clause comes first, we should not put comma between two clauses. If the if clause comes first, we should put comma. I'll go to the park if the weather is nice. The word I'll go to the park belongs to main clause. It is the result. And the word if the weather is nice belong to if clause or the condition. Because here the main clause comes first, we shouldn't put comma between two clauses. In the main clause, we're using will plus verb 1. I'll go. It is the short version of will. I will go becomes I'll go. And for the condition or if clause, the verb is using present tense, is. Once again, if the if clause comes first, we should put comma between two clauses. But if the main clause comes first, we shouldn't put comma. Using will not or won't for negative result. The result clauses can be affirmative or negative. Example: if the company wins the contract, they will give me a bonus. There are two clauses here. If the company wins the contract is the if clause. And they will give me a bonus is the result clause. In this result clause, it uses will plus verb 1. There is no not here. Then it belongs to affirmative result. Next sentence. If the company doesn't make a profit, they won't give me a bonus. The result in this sentence, they won't give me a bonus, belongs to negative result. And the word won't is the short version of will not. You can use will not, or you can make it short, becomes won't. Will not becomes won't. Using other modal verbs instead of will. We can also use modals like can, may, must, should, as well as imperatives It is the verbs giving instructions in the result part of the sentence instead of will. Look at the example. If the children finish their homework, they can play outside. There are two clauses, and in this sentence, the if clause comes first. The verb in the if clause is using present tense, finish. The next clause, they can play outside. We didn't use will, but here we change it by using can. They can play. It is the main clause, the result. Next example. If you buy a lottery ticket, you may win. In this sentence, if clause comes first. We should put comma between two clauses. And the next clause, you may win. Here, we use may instead of will. Next example, if you ride a motorbike, you must wear a helmet. There are also two clauses. The if clause comes first. And we should put comma between two clauses. The if clause is using present tense for the verb, ride. And the main clause, you must wear a helmet, it uses must instead of will. Next example. The present should arrive before his birthday if she orders it now. There are two clauses, but the main clause comes first. That's why we shouldn't put comma between two clauses. In the main clause or the result, we are using should instead of will. Should arrive. Next example. Ask me if you don't know what to do. Here, in the result clause, we're using imperative. Ask me. This is the imperative or this is the verbs of giving instruction. Well, it's time to practice. I want to know how well you understand about this lesson. That's why you should do this practice before doing our discussion. In this practice, I want you to change the verbs in the bracket into the correct conditional sentence. Remember, the verbs in the zero conditional sentence always use present tense in both clauses, in if clause and the main clause. Well, now, read the sentences and guess the answer. I will give you the time to guess the answer. Enough? First, if you tell me a secret, I never tell anyone else. The verb in the bracket is the word tell. We do not need to change it. We just put tell for the verb because here the subject is I. We don't need to put s after tell. Next, people get fined if they don't pay their taxes. Here, the verb in the bracket, not pay, we should change it into negative form and it becomes don't pay. Next, my little sister cries if she has a nightmare. Here, the verb cry should be changed into cries, because the subject of this sentence, my little sister, it needs s for the end of the verb. Next, if you don't drink enough water, you become dehydrated. Here, the verb in the bracket, not drink, we should change it into the negative form, don't drink. For the next practice, I want you to change the verbs in the bracket into the correct first conditional sentence. Remember, the verbs in the if clause of the first conditional sentence use present tense, but the verbs in the result or main clause in the first conditional sentence use will plus verb 1. Now, you can read the sentences below and guess the answer. I will give you the time to guess the answer. Enough? First, if my cousin comes for a visit this weekend, we will play cards. Here, the verb in the bracket is the word come. It is located in the if clause. Then, we should use present tense. Because the subject my cousin is singular, we should put s in the end of the verb. And the word my cousin comes for a visit this weekend is the if clause. We will play cards is the main clause. When the if clause comes first, we should put comma between two clauses. Next, if it rains, we will cancel the trip. Here, the verb in the bracket is the word cancel, because it is located in the main clause or the result. We should change it. Will plus verb 1. Will cancel. If it rains is the if clause. We will cancel the trip is the main clause or result. Next, we will go to the beach tomorrow. If it is sunny, the verb in the bracket be should be changed into is, because the verb is located in the if clause. We should use present tense. Be becomes is. In this sentence, the main clause comes first. Then, we don't need to put comma between two clauses. We will go to the beach tomorrow is the main clause. If it is sunny is the if clause. Next, you will not be late here if you take the train. The verb in the bracket, not be, should be changed into will not be, because it is located in the main clause. The verb in the main clause should be used will plus verb 1. And the word you will not be late here, the main clause, it comes first. That's why we don't need to put comma. And the word if you take the train is with clause. Finally, we come to the end of our lesson today. How did you do? Did you enjoy this lesson? Did you understand about this lesson? I hope so. Well, thank you so much for listening to my explanation. See you next time and bye.